All right, we are back on the Gazette Radio Hour with John and Hans. Usually Doug and John, but Doug is away. Still no word from Doug. It's a little disconcerting. We haven't heard from Doug. We don't know whether he's in jail or otherwise incarcerated. We have our special guest, Robert Patrick Lewis, a little ray of sunshine added to your, former Green Beret author, business advisor, and now a little ray of sunshine. I think that might be your official title. All right, so
I'm going to put that on my resume.
I think you should. It's a freaking ray of sunshine. All right, so you wrote a really good article for the Gazette this week on net neutrality, one of my personal favorite topics, because it forces people that you think are pro-government to become anti-government and people who are anti-government to become pro-government.
Right.
Politics makes strange bedfellows. So does net neutrality. So why don't you give us a quick little breakdown of what exactly you think net neutrality is?
So essentially, again, just as me as a conservative libertarian, I see it as a huge governmental overreach. What I essentially see is the government trying to regulate kind of the last bastion of freedom that was out there, right? That's one of the great things that makes the internet. Wikipedia, perfect example. Anybody can go up there and put any kind of information they want up there, right? It's a free, open source medium for now. And now with net neutrality, we don't know how much longer that's going to last.
Well, isn't it more along the lines of, hey, let's make sure everybody has the same speed?
That's what they're saying. But essentially, you're taking the most inefficient organization in the history of mankind and putting it in charge of what could potentially be, our greatest means of improvement. One of the things that has the potential for the greatest leaps forward in technology, the internet, the thing that gives us all access to each other, and the government is now going to regulate it, which means, so right now they're saying they're going to regulate, ensuring that everybody gets the same amount of bandwidth. But how are they going to do that? It's not going to be efficiently. So they're now going to have a piece in every single part of the internet, even if they're just monitoring it. Well, what happens if every process they set up to monitor it slows down every other business process or every other process involved in the internet? What happens if, because this is an FCC action. Right now, the internet is famous for posting boards where people can just yell at each other because they're anonymous, they don't care. But what happens if you post an expletive and you get a fine from the FCC for $5,000?
Yeah.
Right? This is just, we don't know. It was another one of the famous Obama sign it so you can find out what's in it. And we're still trying to figure out exactly what it is they just passed.
Okay, because that's a great reason to be against it. Okay, because my first thought when I first read about it was, well, I kind of being more. I would classify myself probably as a conservative libertarian as well to a certain extent. Kind of depends on the issue. I'm all over the place. I'll give you a great example. I was talking to somebody the other day about gun control, right? And I was like, well, no, Second Amendment. I'm like, but then again, I deal with a lot of stupid people. They really shouldn't own guns.
Right.
So,
and that's where I think politics and the media try to polarize us left or right, but most Americans are right in the middle somewhere. Might take a step to the left or right every once in a while, but most of us are in the middle on most issues.
Yeah. Well, my first thought on this was, well, wait a minute. What's wrong with the free market? What's wrong with companies going, hey, look, I've got an invention that speeds up your internet. Let me throw it on there, and hey, guess what? I get to make money off of it.
Well, and that's the problem, is that we call ourselves a free market capitalistic society. So the free market means the market is supposed to decide everything. What companies stay in business, what companies go out of business, what food we keep because we select the most natural selection, things like that. But unfortunately, we have more of a crony capitalistic system where the government gets involved. When you have a large corporation that can essentially buy politicians through lobbyists, that all goes out the window because they get to skew it in their favor. Sure, they did well, so they have enough money, they spend money on their lobbyists. There are a lot of metrics out there for like every $9 million a company spends on lobbyists, they get $100 million in return or something like that.
That's a fair enough.
And it changes the whole dynamic. And that's kind of what I see this as being, is kind of a power play. I myself, I'm a big fan of kind of new media technology. So I completely went away from cable. I just watch Netflix, I watch YouTube, I watch HBO to go and Hulu and all these other things. Because I have time to watch one TV show a week.
Right.
I don't have time for commercials. I don't really care. I need to watch it when I want to watch it, and I want to see what I want to see.
Yeah, you got to be able to get The Bachelor anytime you want. I get that.
I'm the Bachelorette. I'm one.
You're the Bachelorette.
Steamy guys on there. But I think I see a lot of these big, kind of blue chip foundational companies that are out there. The big networks, Comcast and AT&T, are some of the most vocal opponents of this. I see this as kind of a power play because every article that I read talks about how this is going to affect companies like Netflix how this is going to take away a lot of their chance to do what they're doing in streaming video and things like that.
Exactly. And that's the point. It's that was the free market thing. That was my first thought was, hey, let the free market decide whether this is a good thing or bad thing. And then I thought about it. I was like, well, wait a minute. There's small companies that won't be able to start up because it almost creates a monopoly if they can't afford to have their product streamed fast enough. Because there's 1.2 milliseconds of wait time creates a difference in the consumer's mind. They're going to be out of luck.
Yeah, and everything's downstream, but that's a big problem with this. We're trying to figure out what are going to be the downstream effects, what are going to be the knock-on effects, what is this going to do? At the end of the day, is that a better thing or a worse thing? Because there are new technologies that might come out there that have a genuine need for more of that bandwidth, right? So who needs bandwidth more? Me sitting there trying to watch YouTube videos of kittens playing with puppies, or a new company that's trying to start a new technology that might save lives, might create the longer-lasting light bulb, might profoundly change the way that our world works forever.
And they won't be able to do it because they couldn't afford it, so net neutrality is a good thing. See, I went back and forth.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it's a hard one, but at the end of the day, my biggest thing that I see that's just a huge governmental overreach.
Yeah.
And the biggest problem with it is it's just they screw everything up they touch.
Well, what got me was the fact that, and you said this earlier, and you glossed over it really quickly, and I was like, oh, this is going to be the big point. Once again, it was a sign it, and then we'll figure it out later deal.
Yeah.
Nobody knew what it was.
And they still don't, and it's something that, again, that's why everything that we're saying, everybody that's talking about it, everybody that's writing articles about it, it's hypothetical. Because we don't really know what it was, and that might even be the scariest thing is they signed it, and now they're going to implement all these procedures, and only then are we going to figure out what this is actually going to do to something that fundamentally influences all of our lives.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's talk about something really cheery. How's the book doing?
Book's doing really well. The audiobook is headed to retail, so it should be up on iTunes and Amazon and Audible here in the next couple of days. I've been checking the website. I've been doing a lot of interviews this week, and the website's just going crazy. So if anybody out there hasn't checked out thepackbook.com yet, it's getting a lot of hits. It's doing pretty well.
Awesome. All right. Robert, thanks so much. Hopefully Doug won't be in prison soon. Or actually, maybe we can do like a Magnificent Seven raid, and we could get him out of prison. We could break him out. We'll call you. We'll talk.
I can bake cake.
There you go. We'll work on something.
Just the old school way.
We'll have some logistics. We'll have a logistics meeting at some point. If Doug is incarcerated, we'll figure this out.
Or we can just go there and point and laugh.
That probably sounds like more fun, doesn't it?
Yeah, that sounds like.
All right. Yeah, you can bring a cake.
Yeah, I'll bring a cake for us to eat in front of him.
Exactly. All right, Robert. Thanks so much. We'll see you next week. Robert Patrick Lewis, Green Beret, ex-Green Beret, all-around great guy, author. You got it. I guess we're done. You're listening to Gazette Radio with Doug and John on AM-1220 KHTS, Santa Clarita's hometown station. Special guest Hans in the corner, very quiet. We'll be right back. Yeah, you better say so. All right, Doug does that much better than I. You better say so. I don't know what that means. Do you know what that means, Hans? I don't know. All right, you're listening to Gazette Radio with Doug and John with our special guest Hans on AM-1220 KH, Santa Clarita's hometown station, KHTS. That's right. I said that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, Hans, I was thinking about you and the heart thing, man. That just stumped me. Any clues to what actually happened? I mean, why it occurred?
Just working out is just overexertion, and I don't know what else to say. Every time the doctors tried to talk to me, I asked them to speak in English, but they didn't.
Well, yeah. Welcome to medical stuff. Did they say what the cause was? I mean, just
it's
something that
genetic.
happened.
It's
genetic. Okay, so you're getting back into shape, right?
Yep.
I'm glad you did that, because guess who we have on our phone? We have Adam Heatley from Afterburn Fitness. Adam, you're there, right?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, what's going on? Hey, Doug's not in today. We got our special guest, Hans. Hans just came back from a cardiovascular event.
Oh, what kind of event?
It was an ablation procedure.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound fun at all.
Yeah, but he's getting back into working out, and I'm sure he's got some questions for you. What's the best exercise? My question is, how do you start out coming back from something like that?
Very, very cautiously.
So,
with anything dealing with the heart, you don't want to come in and overexert your body, of course, until your body has gotten used to the working out. Plus, your heart has to condition for it as well, because your heart is a muscle, so it does need to condition, to the intensity level. So you can't just jump right on into craziness until you've built up to that.
Well, I will say I have been doing a bit of cardio. Just to kind of ease myself in. I'm not medically cleared to lift or anything yet, so I guess that's a good thing. Other than that, I just don't really have any kind of direction.
As far as direction, do you have a goal in mind?
I don't. I just don't know where to start and what to think. And
he's got to start from.
I got to start from somewhere. But
your first thing is you definitely need a goal.
Yes. Well,
you can go in and work out and go in and run on the treadmill or lift weights. But if you don't have a goal you're working towards, then it's kind of like you're just spinning in circles.
Okay.
So whether your goal is, I want to be able to run a mile in, under 10 minutes, or I want to be able to bench press 135 pounds, I don't know. As long as you have some kind of specific goal you're working toward, then at least you can go in with a mission and something in your mindset. And while trying to achieve that goal, everything else will fall into place. Like your cardio will get better, your endurance will get better, your agility will get better. Instead of just kind of going in with, playing with that machine and leaving. You've got to have some kind of plan to put in action.
Okay. And, so once I start doing that, let's talk supplements or something along that line.
All right, let's do it.
What should I be taking? Like, what would be the most beneficiary for me?
The number one thing that guys, men in general, should be taking, especially when they're lifting weights, is creatine. Creatine has been known for years now to be one of the most effective supplements as far as helping with lean muscle gain. And the reason why is it's because creatine helps get that extra boost when you're lifting. When we lift, our muscles run out of energy. Well, the creatine helps give it a little bit more edge when you're lifting. And it's also been known, in most men have done studies that it's also helping with depression and all kinds of other manly things that occur later in life. So creatine is the definite number one for helping with, gaining lean muscle. And so is glutamine. Glutamine's a great one to take as well for gaining lean muscle. That helps keep your cells hydrated in the muscle, so they have a longer lasting effect while you're lifting, and it helps speed up the recovery after you've worked out.
So do you take that? Okay, so you take creatine before or after you work out?
You do both. Creatine before and after you work out.
Really?
It's the most ideal way to take it.
Is there like
a really small amount, and it works great.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And the other one you said was
glutamine.
Glutamine? Mm-hmm. That I know you take after, right? Because that's more of a recovery.
More of a recovery, and but it does help the muscles repair faster, and it keeps the cells hydrated, so they're all happy inside the muscle. Those are two of the best ones, and a BCAA, which is a branched-chain amino acid, that's a great one to take as well, because that's basically food for your muscles, and it's the same essential amino acids that we pull from protein, and everybody should take it because it keeps the body from atrophying. So sometimes when people aren't nourished enough and they're working out way too much, the body starts feeding off of the muscle. The BCAA will prevent the body from doing that or help stop it from doing that.
Interesting. And that's another one that you take on a daily basis, right?
That one's, it's a daily basis.
It doesn't have to, it doesn't tie into working out or not working out. But that's all.
No, it's good to take it, if you're going to have a heavy lift, it's good to do it before you lift.
Okay.
But I take it, once a day.
Okay. Now, with these supplements, it's all powdered drinks a lot, right?
Some of it is, some of it's pills. Nowadays you can kind of pick and choose which way to do it.
Good, because by the time I mix up a powdered protein drink with a scoop of creatine, with a scoop of something, I mean, you've got more powder than you got to drink 6 gallons of water to dissolve all the powder.
Yeah. You can put your creatine and your glutamine into your protein. It's a minimal amount of powder. Or, one of the best ways to take like a creatine or a glutamine, or both at the same time, is you put it in what's called like a transport. So something like a juice, usually like orange juice, just a really small amount. And the reason why is it cuts it into your bloodstream a lot faster.
Oh.
Where the protein drinker with water, it takes a little bit longer to absorb. But the acidic levels in the juice helps cut into the bloodstream faster.
Yeah, I don't really could drink orange juice before working out, especially doing burpees.
Yeah, I don't recommend that.
That wouldn't be a good thing. That would give burpees their name.
Exactly.
No, that's that.
It just sounds gross.
Yeah, and so my goal would be just to finish one of Adam's classes, right?
Yeah.
That's a good goal.
Yeah, that's a good goal. I mean, if that's your goal, that's a goal. As long as it's a goal.
Yeah. Survive without losing your lunch.
Exactly.
That's not a bad one. That's not a bad one. Hey, all right. So when we come back, we're going to take a break. Hopefully hang on after the break. I hope that's okay.
Absolutely.
Good, because then we're going to talk about things that people can take to lose weight, the miracle pills that are out there, because I'm sure there's a bunch of them. Yeah. That should be a lot of fun. All right, we're talking to Adam Healy from Afterburn Fitness on the AM-1220 Gazette Radio Hour with John and Hans. All right, we'll be right back.